Hi, I'm Ron Paulk. Well, it's time to build the frame for the Paulk Compact Bench, the PCB. As usual, starting projects, it's time to break down the big sheets of plywood using the track saw and my spiffy new battery-operated Festool track saw. Makes it a lot nicer not having the cord and even the vacuum hose. The bag seems to do a great job. Here I'm going to check and make sure that I got the bottom square. So this is a piece that's 3/4. I'm going to go ahead and break it down. It's for the top. Even though I'm doing that separately, I need the fall off to make the templates to make the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. So I do use my table saw even though I have a track saw. When I'm ripping a lot of parts that are under about 18 inches, then I find it's quicker on the saw. A lot of people say, oh, I see you use a track. Why do you do that? You got a table saw right there. There's nothing to compare taking the saw to the material when you have a big piece of material. It works much more like a big sliding table saw, but portable for guys like me that have a portable wood shop. Went to the miter saw and cut everything using the stop so everything matched up exactly. And now it's time to lay out the cutouts. Now I did look at using a 6-inch hole saw, which I would have preferred. It would have been faster, but because a template will in this case shrink it by 1/8 of an inch, I would have had 5 7/8 opening instead of 6. So I decided to do it by hand using the circle cutting jig for my jigsaw. It makes a perfect hole. And then with my little short track and this battery operated saw, quick work of just cutting out between the holes. I probably could have went all the way, but I wanted to make sure I didn't cut a little bit beyond. I'm gonna go ahead and get them all cut almost all the way through. Of course, I just need one jig for the 3 spreaders and one jig for the side. I'll save these, it'll save a lot of time. I'll spend more time making these jigs than actually cutting them out with the router. I will use my jigsaw to finish the cuts. So just a quick little inch or so to finish them up. And again, they are jigs, and so everything will be copied over and over on every piece, so it's worth taking a few minutes and sanding them and touching them up and making sure they're nice and smooth. Of course, I'm going to write save on them so that I will keep them in the shop if I want to build a bench like this in the future. Setting up the router, putting the template guide on, picking the blade. I'm going to use a 1/2-inch cutter. It's just a little more stable. I'm going to screw the jig down. I made the jig exactly the size of the cut, so no room to clamp. The router would bump into the clamps. I will be making multiple passes. When cutting out using a straight cutter like this, you'll want to make sure that you cut not all the way through. You just be really pushing the machine and not getting a good cut. So, you know, I make as many passes as necessary. The rule of thumb is whatever the diameter of your blade. So in this case, it's a 1/2-inch bit. So the deepest you want to make the cut is half of that, so 1/4 inch deep, and I probably even want a little bit less. And then the final cut is, the beginning cut and the final cut are very shallow just because you get the edges and get a good clean cut. And then I'll run all the edges over with a little probably 1/8 inch round over bit. I don't even know what size it is. It's real small. Gets things smooth to handle it. Really sharp edges. I actually cut my hand on the template. Got a lot of blood flow in there from the sharp edges from the router cut. Clean up the bench. And now it's time for assembly. The all-important glue. Have to do the glue. The glue is the most important thing, more important than the screws. Screws actually are just a permanent clamp to hold it in place until the glue kicks in and does its job. Of course, I laid out all the marks on one and then laid that on top of the other and pre-drilled both at the same time. Save a little time and get them exactly the same. And then dropping the screws in. Well, if you like these videos, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, but most important, share the channel with others. And if you want to set up these workbench plans or any others, click on the link right here in the video. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Have a great day.